Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're diving into a really profound idea from the work of ZT TOSHA. We're going on a journey, really, to see how something as simple as a vibration can become, well, everything. The entire complex reality you see, and even the thoughts inside your own head. So, let's start at the very, very beginning. Before we had words for things, before we even had thoughts, before we could measure time, there was just this. A fundamental pulse. The source calls it vibration, but don't think of it as a sound you can hear. It's more like the source code of reality itself. Okay, here's the map for our journey today. We're going to follow this path. We start with that pure, raw vibration. Then we'll see how our minds grab it and create meaning, and how that can sometimes harden into what's called dogma. But don't worry, there's an escape hatch. A path through authenticity that leads us back to a sense of unity. This isn't just a list of words, it's the very process of how we build and sometimes have to unbuild our reality. All right, first stop, the primal vibration. This is ground zero. It's impersonal, it's mysterious, and it's the origin point for absolutely everything. So what exactly is this vibration we're talking about? Again, it's not a physical sound wave. The source calls it a sacred hum. The tremor at the very heart of being. It's the pulse that everything, and I mean everything, light, matter, even consciousness, emerges from. You could think of it as the universe just breathing. Now that vibration can exist all on its own, but the next step, perception, is when we come into the picture. It's that instant when consciousness, the listener, wakes up and actually notices it. This is our first point of contact. The source calls this an act of intimacy, which is beautiful, right? It's our own awareness reaching out and touching the great mystery. So our mind perceives this raw, formless vibration. But what does the human mind always do with raw data? It has to filter it, to process it. And that brings us to our next stage, which the source fascinatingly calls the trap of meaning.
This is such a critical turn in the road. Our brains are meaning-making machines. We just can't sit with a pure, unlabeled sensation. We have to give it a name. We have to categorize it, put it in a box, draw a border around it. And in that moment, yeah, we gain some understanding, but we also lose the infinite. It's the very first limitation we place on reality.
And here is where the trap springs shut. What happens when those meanings, those helpful little boxes, stop being questioned? They harden, they turn into dogma. A truth that was once personal and fluid becomes a rigid, fixed system. We stop listening to the original vibration and we start listening only to our own inherited rules.
This leads to a really powerful line from the source. Beliefs become prisons made of inherited echoes. I mean, just think about that. We're not just trapped, we're trapped by secondhand ideas we picked up along the way. The original awe and wonder are gone, and in their place we've built a monument to what we think we already know.
But every prison has a weak spot. There's a pivot point built into this whole journey, a moment where the entire structure can begin to crack. And this is what we call the authentic breakthrough.
And it usually starts with something so simple, a quiet little question that cuts through all the noise. Is this real? Is this thing I believe? Is this system I'm living in? Is it actually real? That one tiny question can be the earthquake that shatters the whole prison of dogma.
So what do you find on the other side of that question? Authenticity. But it's not some loud, dramatic rebellion. The source describes it as a quiet clarity. It's that moment you stop looking outside yourself for the answers and you just start experiencing reality directly without a filter. Truth is no longer something someone tells you, it's something you live.
I just love this metaphor from the source. It's so personal. That moment of true authenticity isn't about some grand discovery out there in the world. It's a quiet, intimate moment of self-recognition. It's like seeing your own face clearly for the very first time, without all the distortions.
Okay, so we've broken free from dogma, we've had this authentic breakthrough. Where do we go from here? Well, the journey starts to move towards its beautiful resolution, unity, a return to a sense of oneness that dissolves all the conflicts that dogma created in the first place.
This final shift is all about changing your perspective. See, the world of dogma is built on opposition. It's always self versus other, light versus dark. It's all about division. But in a state of unity, all of that just collapses. You realize self is other, that the world isn't a battlefield, it's more like a dance of echoes and mirrors.
And this is the ultimate destination, unity. It's that profound realization that the separation we felt, the divisions we created, were an illusion all along. And when that opposition just falls away, what are you left with? You're left with the original vibration, and now you can hear it singing, clearly once again.
But here is the single most important takeaway from all of this. This journey is not a ladder. You don't just climb it once and poof, you're enlightened. It's a spiral. We cycle through these stages, from vibration to meaning to dogma to authenticity to unity, again and again all throughout our lives. It's a continuous process of tuning in. And really, to bring it all home, the Source suggests that to be alive is to move through these thresholds. And to create anything, art, a relationship, a life, is just the act of tuning yourself over and over back to that original pulse. So I guess that just leaves one question for you to think about. Where are you on the spiral right now? And can you hear the vibration behind it all?